Hello, everyone. Hello, Lagos. It's a wonderful evening, um, and it's time for our conversation this evening. My name is Damilola, and I will be representing the Innkeeper team um, this evening. Um, the conversation today is a very interesting one. It's really about how young people are able to maximize the gig economy. We have two interesting guests, and they are online. They're bringing up their videos shortly so that we can then bring them upstream. But while we await their videos to come upstream, the quick conversation that we're having today will require for us to make it interesting. It will be good for everyone joining us via LinkedIn, via Facebook, by YouTube, to please drop questions wherever you have questions. And let's keep this conversation going. I'm going to start while waiting for two of our guests before they're introduced and they turn on their videos. Um, I'm going to quickly define what the gig economy, the popular definition of what the gig economy is, and then I'll allow the guest do the justice that is required to it. And we know that gig economy basically is the opportunity to get work that is not necessarily a typical 9 to 5. Where you're able to get jobs and you're able to deliver based on your skill set within a time frame, and then that's all. There are some others refer to it as temporary jobs, but being able to get an opportunity and then run that opportunity is what makes this gig economy unique from the typical seasonal employment. Like the farmers are not gig. They know that there's rainy season, they have harvest season, and they have down times when there's nothing you can do about it. But this is completely different from the gig economy. All right, I see that it's time for us to make the introductions to our guests. So I would invite the moderator for the day to come on board. Olamide, you're welcome. You have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. Dami. Thank you so much for the short introduction. Good evening, everyone. My name is Okesanya Olamide, and I'm going to be moderating tonight's conversation. I'm quite excited about tonight's conversation because it's a growing trend in the tech industry, and it's something that everybody is going into at the moment. So we're going to be discussing on how to maximize the gig economy as a techie. And as you've all heard, Mr. Dami has given us a short introduction or definition of what the gig economy is about. So joining me in this conversation is Temitope Olukunle, who is a tech recruiter and a gig economist. I also have Esther Oyebode, who is a product designer, and Stephen Ajayi, who is a blockchain security expert. Good evening, guys. How you guys doing?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, Esther. Good evening, Stephen. Please turn on your camera if you can.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Hi, Esther. Good evening.
Yeah, good
All right.
evening. Can you hear
Thank
me?
you for yes. I can hear you. All right. So thank you for taking our time to be a part of this conversation. All right. So very quickly to you, Tokwe. So I know Mr. Dami has given us a little foundation on what the gig economy is about, but can you give us a deeper knowledge into what the gig economy is about?
Thank you so much. I appreciate, and it's such a pleasure to be here as well. Thank you so much, Innkeeper team. Am I audible? I just want to be sure.
Of course, we
Awesome.
can hear you.
Okay, great. Just like you said, my name is Timmy. The preference is Timmy. And, he already did justice to the definition, to be honest. In summary, gig economy, first, we're in the gig economy. It's an economy, just like we had the internet boom. There was a time when the knowledge economy, which is still going on. In fact, there's an infusion of the viral economy. I even call it the borderless economy, right? Where your work, your skills, your profession, your capacity, your experience, your expertise can go borderless. That's really the gig economy, to be honest, where from whatever part of the world you're located, you are able to tap into the global economy itself, offer your skills online, whether you're a career professional, you're a techie, you're able to just position online. And there are several platforms that are aiding this gig economy, because it's not just called gig economy because people are working online. There are platforms that enables all of this to happen, right? Where people can position themselves and get this contract. And so where people work based on contracts, hourly, you hear people saying some of them are called freelancers, some are, consultants, independent contractors, temp, just like he said at the beginning. So pretty much that's the summary of the gig economy. And I'm sure during the conversation, we'll be able to share more light. Thank you.
All right, thank you about for that. That's very profound. So coming to you, Esther, based on the explanation that has been given, can you explain to us how this economy has influenced your career as a product designer?
Okay. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Of course. Yes,
Okay.
you can.
All right. Okay, so how has gig economy influenced my career? All right. Let me say that when I got into gig economy, I had to start looking at people that I had to start putting myself out there. I had to start putting my work out there. So from putting my work out there, from putting myself out there, people got to know what I could do. And then they trusted those things I could do. The moment they trusted that, okay, I could deliver, then I started getting jobs online. So you need to put yourself out there. You need to put your work out there. You need to sell yourself. Yeah, I think that's the word I should use. You need to sell yourself. And when you sell yourself, you'd see things working well for you.
Fantastic. So very quickly to you, Stephen, as a blockchain security expert, right? How do you think that people in your space can actually harness the opportunity in this new trend?
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, people in cybersecurity space, as we've already started harnessing gig economy. Because one interesting thing about the gig work is that the internet has made everything very easy for us. You can find job anywhere. Physical presence is no longer a yardstick when it comes to getting the right people to get your job done. And in cybersecurity, there's something called a bug bounty program in both cybersecurity and blockchain security, actually, where cybersecurity professionals and hackers can work whenever they want for large organization looking for
Wow.
bugs. Yeah. So so the bugs you actually find determines the kind of payout you're going to get on the long run. So those platforms has already been leveraging gig economy in their processes, and it's been going on for more than 20 years now. So that is if you want to work for foreign companies. Nobody's actually left aside. So I would say software developers are in high demand when it comes to the gig economy, because they appear to actually have traditional greater flexibility when it comes to different tech sector. For instance,
That's
now,
true.
yeah. So it's actually very easy for them to get a remote job, get on Upwork, get on whatever platform, and just register. Then, so it's really pretty easy. So working remotely is they work remotely is going to allow them collaborate with so many experts in the space. So you don't physical presence does not mean anything anymore. Yeah, gig economy is part of what we do, and a lot of people are actually harnessing it already.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that,
Yeah, thank
Stephen.
you.
So yeah, I'm back to you, Tokwe, right? I understand that you are really big on gig economy, and I'm very sure that you interact with a lot of these people. So what are some of the tips that you can provide for people who want to enter into this space? Say, for example, people who want to operate in platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, and the rest. How can they position themselves to optimize the opportunities in this space?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Damilola. I think there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unpack there. And by the end of the day, we still have to start the journey. The first, just like you said, you already identified the platform. So I think awareness should be a priority for any, talent right now, whether in Nigeria or you're an African talent. Awareness of what is even going on is very fundamental. Nobody right now in this age and time should be ignorant about all of these things that we're talking about, the future of work, because the way we work, just like Stephen mentioned, the way we work has changed. So first of all, awareness is something that I talk about a lot. But in terms of positioning or gaining entry into some of these platforms, the question that I really want to ask is, are we even ready for this future of work? Are Nigerians truly ready? Because I see a lot every day, right? In terms of our work operations, in terms of our attitude to work, where people are used to a lot of traditional work, where you go to work, you are muted on calls, you don't put on your video, you have to be begged on a call like this to put on your videos, corporate calls. But these things, if you're going to work with global brands, these are things that are expected of you, except you are going to send a request to say, oh, apologies, something is going on. Your internet is not meant to go off. I'm trying to sort out the fundamentals before I begin to talk about the principles of maybe positioning on Fiverr or Upwork, because it's not so much about the hard skills. Sometimes it's really about the soft skills, like the communication, response to emails, the little things that make people get the job and lose it in few days or in few months. So let me talk about, moving into these platforms as well and positioning. I mean, I am an Upworker. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm an Upwork expert and Upwork is my thing. If I'm going to choose a freelancing platform or a gig economy, that is my preference. It's obviously Upwork because, I mean, I've been on Upwork for years. I'm a top rated, plus freelancer, meaning I'm among the top 3%, right? So I've grown to that level where I know how it works, at least in my own knowledge. So there are 4 P's I like to mention in my coaching class, which is really just summarizing how anybody can go and penetrate and position on Upwork or Fiverr or TopTal or any of these, freelancing platforms. The first will really be the profile. You don't just come up and say, okay, it's not like LinkedIn where you create an account and then you are just chatting. No, it's for one thing and one thing alone. You apply for jobs. So you want to set up your profile and your profile has to be outstanding. That's what your potential clients will see. It's your building. And so when they see that, they know that even if they don't get a chance to call you first, the first impression is what they see on your profile. So you want to ensure that you have superior communication there, your expertise, your experience, your capacity, what you are bringing to the table. That's the first P that I tell people. The second P would also be your portfolio. Because when you put your profile, you set up a profile, you write a lot of things. At the end of the day, people want to see the actual work you've done. So portfolio could be, if you're a software developer, you're a web app developer, maybe you've developed a website or you created an app, you want to link it as a portfolio. You want to upload the documents you've worked on. You've done designs, graphic design. You want to upload them literally as a portfolio. You created a document. Those are your portfolio. It's very critical. The third P is really, I think, should be your pricing, right? There are 3 levels of pricing for every expert or every talent, every professional. You are either an entry level, you are either intermediate, or you are an expert. So you want to live your reality. Don't say you're an expert when you know that you're an entry level professional. Because when they give you that job and you mess it up, it will still fall back on your profile. People will give you bad reviews. There will be no referral. So a lot of times we don't think along the line. We just want to think about now. What happens if I don't deliver? So you want to under promise and over deliver. And the last P, because of time, so that I can hand over, will be the proposal. That's how you get the job anyway. You have to propose. You have to send something to the client when you see the job. So you want to ensure, because that's what they see even before your profile. Your proposal should be speaking about the job that you're applying for. Let it be speaking value that beyond my experience. So I have a master's, I have an MBA. Can you speak to the job description itself and the deliverables? What does the client want? How can you do it? How have I done it before? By the time you put all of these 4 pieces together, trust me, you are the bone. I'd like to use the mic
Wow.
now.
Wow, that's solid and profound. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that the people who are viewing have learned a lot from what you've said. But also, another question I'd like to ask, right, Stokwe, is the fact that people that are not in the tech space, how can they also harness this opportunity? Say, for example, someone who is an HR professional, someone who, you know, whose job, basically fits more into the traditional 9 to 5. How can they even, be a part of this?
Awesome. You're actually speaking about me because I'm not in core tech. My work is just tech enabled. I'm an HR professional. I'm a global talent consultant, right? I was in administration operations and then HR before I moved into HR
Mm,
tech, right? So even my profile on Upwork, I'm not a techie. I don't understand any code. Apart from understanding the basic of the stacks for my
mm,
recruitment purpose, at least I should be able to know in your profile as a Java developer, oh, this is a Java developer. I need a
mm,
React, the Node.js. It's a front-end developer I need. I need a blockchain expert. So understanding that fundamental is required for my work and my own professionalism. But I don't code. I don't do all of that. And I'm maximizing to the fullest,
mm,
at least to the fullest of my level right now because there is more in the gig economy. So whether you're a virtual assistant, you are an administrative expert, a customer service, an accounting professional. In fact, my startup right now this month we're dedicating learnings because people just think gig economy is for tech people alone. No, whatever you do, as long as you can do it online, whether accounting, customer service, HR,
mm,
insurance, support, you can do it online. And it's the same process. It's just that people don't know that everybody is in tech now.
mm,
You are in
Mhm,
tech, what you are doing. You are in
mhm.
tech, but doing customer service. You are in tech, but doing accounting because you have to do
mm.
it online. That's technology. So you don't
True.
code. You're not in tech because you code. You are in tech because you use technology to do your job, to deliver. So
Yeah.
nobody should be left behind. That's my opinion.
Fantastic, fantastic. Stephen, did you have anything you would like to add? I'd like to have your thoughts on this as well.
I think Tokwe has said everything. No, Tokwe has really said anything. But in general, we know that when it comes to the tech space, companies are actually suspicious of IT specialists,
Mm,
especially when it comes to IT specialists that switch job more often. Even the ones that don't switch job, they are actually suspect. So in such a case, employee needs to actually be trustworthy. If you want to go
mm,
into the gig economy, you have to make sure that you're a very trustworthy person. And the companies they still have to know that you coming to take their money is not the only thing you want. It's not the only motivation when you want to get a job. When it comes to the gig economy. Yeah, so for you to position yourself, you need to be a trustworthy person. As Tokwe has said, your profile has to speak what you do. Like your profile has to be top notch with your certification, your capacity, and yeah, and we know security is a very costly. Is very costly. We don't just want to employ anybody into the space.
mm.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think Tokwe has actually said everything. I said, let me just add that to it. Yeah,
Thank you for that, Stephen.
yeah, yeah.
I like the fact that you laid emphasis on trust because whether or not in the gig economy, as long as you relate with human, trust is a very key component in relating with human being. We've talked about the benefits of the gig economy so far, but you know that there are also criticisms to this economy where some people even think that this whole thing is a scam. Do you understand? And the
Mhm.
future ahead of the gig economy is a doom. Let's put it like that. Do you understand? So I'd like to ask, right? Um, a study shows that gig economy is at an higher risk. And why is because it will not give people the opportunity to be able to, you know, gain knowledge from working on a 9 to 5, like working in a team, having to understand teamwork, having to understand all of those things, which are really necessary for your growth as a professional, right? Having to have access to mentorship, especially for people who are in the entry level. Do you understand? And even having to also measure your career growth, as it were. Because, say, for example, you're working as a gig worker, how are you even able to measure that? Oh, okay, I'm an entry level. At what point do you know that you are now a senior developer? At what point do you know that? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Esther, I'd really like to have your thoughts on this one.
Okay, so when I started product design, obviously I knew I was in entry level at that point. So because even my designs then spoke for me that I was in entry level. Anybody that saw my design then would know that this is an entry level designer. When you are transitioning from wherever you are to where you are going to, say maybe you are transitioning from, or maybe you are even a student and you think that you want to go into tech, or you want to maybe start coding, or you want to start designing, and you just start. At that point where you start, that is entry level. Maybe you have gone through a year, 2 years of consistent work. A year, 2 years of I'm not saying maybe you started product design last year. You've not touched product design for maybe 6 months, and then maybe after 6 months you call yourself a mid-level designer. No, I'm talking of you consistently designing, or you consistently coding for a year, 2 years, you being able to solve problems. The moment you have gotten to that stage where you are no longer asking too many questions, you are now solving problems for other people. You have graduated from one particular place or one particular phase to another phase. I know that you become a senior developer when you are now a consultant, like when you are now telling the entry guys, do it this way, do it that way. So you are graduating from one phase to the other when your challenges are basically more minimal than they used to be.
I think I agree with you, but Tope, I'll still like to have your thoughts, because you're an HR professional, right? I would like to have your thoughts on this question.
Awesome, thank you. I think Esther did justice to that as well in terms of how you measure your growth. And one interesting thing about your question is we don't measure growth by being physically, going to the office, being a physical worker. That's not how you measure growth. It's the depth of your work, the the depth of your experience, whether you got it remotely or physically. So I'm not sure it's about the dynamics of how you got that experience. And when you get to the level where you've outgrown that stage, you will know, even you will know, because it will show in your work. Typically, we look at 1 to 2 years as entry level. After 1.5, 2 years, you are getting into the mid. When you're getting into 5 years, you're already senior. You're moving closer to the senior. So there are structure to some of these things, right? And it's obvious. But let me speak about your concern in terms of, which is genuine, is a genuine concern, that are people truly, mentorship, are they around people? If we sit down here to say that there are no consequences, being a gig worker, it's a lie. There are little things, you are not having access to people all the time. But I think the goal should be we're looking at the bigger picture, because we're even picking from the scrubs, like we're picking the scraps. We're late to the party. So this is not the time to even discourage ourselves as a Nigeria. This is an opportunity to compete on a global scale with international, talent. So to start saying that, will it work? They've gone far. They've left us behind. Nigeria, we're just trying to come in, we're too late to the party. We're picking the and that's why if you compare the rates, how much is being paid, for example, to African talent, is big to us. It's huge. Look at dollar to naira today, or naira to dollar today. Imagine you're earning $1,000, right? If you convert that to naira right now, that's a lot, right? Exactly. Yeah. Imagine you're earning that. But to them, they know that they're giving you leftovers, because no talent will end up over there. So I want us to just begin to see that, we're even late to the party. It's time to catch up. Let's compete on that global level. We have the capacity. a lot of developers in Africa, in Nigeria, we are so good. We are good. Let's just praise ourselves more. There is work to be done, but we are good. Let's end this thing, please. That's my response. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate, and I agree with you. Why is it? Because there is a research by the Mastercard Foundation that says that the gig economy is growing in Africa at an average rate of 20%, and 20% is really a small number for a trend that is already a big thing out there in the US, in India, and the like. In fact, in India at the moment, we have, a growth, an average growth of 53% on a daily. Do you understand? I mean, sorry, yearly, rather, yearly. Do you understand? Where companies are actually, hiring these people to get the job done, and even leading to them paying their employees better. Do you understand? Because they are not being overused, and, all of those tasking work are being given to gig workers to do. So yes, I totally agree with you on that stuff, man. But also another concern that I found out, right, is that a school of thought believes that this sector is not regulated. And what I mean by that is there is no policy to protect these people from being exploited. Do you understand? When I was doing my research, I realized that a company called Foodora, right, started with I think $20 with their delivery guys, and as what was it called? As they began to get more people, and the brand got popularity, it began to reduce down to like $8 or so. And there is no government policies to protect these people from being exploited and stuff like that. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Stephen, I would like to have your thought on this.
So when it comes to the regulation and compliance aspect of it, I don't really know much about it, but I know there are problems to everything. There are always advantages and disadvantages to every single thing. And when it comes to the gig economy, I know there's this issue of job security, right? You're doing a temporary work and it does not really feel secure. The app you're using to do your work today might crash tomorrow. The client might walk out, leaving you hanging with nothing. And you working as a gig economy, as a gig worker to whatever company you're working for, you might not even have any benefits when it comes to that company. But it still boils down to you, right? It boils down to the advantage you're actually having from the gig economy now. You're not going to focus yourself more on the disadvantage. So you only take the good parts, then you maximize on it. So that's all I have to say about that, though.
All right. So thank you for that. So I'm back to you again, Tokwe. So are there ways that these guys can actually protect themselves from being exploited, really? Because, like you said, probably a developer in the US is getting more paid on Upwork than a developer in Africa. Do you understand? How do they protect themselves? What measures can be taken to mitigate this?
Oh, I was muted. Well, I think that at the end of the day, like I said, the first statement that I said, when we started the session is let awareness be your priority. And questions are the currencies of the future. I like to say that. So for anyone, you have to ask questions. Research has to be your friend, and you have to be realistic. If you go online now, so let me give an example of how I started, because you also have to grow. Growth and your earning capacity is commensurate. No, your earning capacity is commensurate with your growth. So some of us started with $2, $5 per hour. I remember, as at early last year, in fact, I was earning $600 a month, and it was a big deal to me because that was even higher than my Nigerian salary, as at last year. But there came a time that even as at December last year, it was still within that range. But I'm like, I've grown. It's time to shift. I've learned new things. I spent thousands of dollars to upskill. In my work as an HR, I want to understand, and this is why I said personal development and personal upskilling of people is very critical. It's commensurate to your growth. You can't want to earn more when even you have not upskilled. I spent over I think about $4,000 or $3,500 to learn Scrum Master and business analysis. Why? Not because I want to suddenly become a Scrum Master or business analyst, but I need the knowledge. If I'm going to be recruiting for tech talent, I don't want to understand core programming language. But as a Scrum Master, because you work with tech teams, what you know as a Scrum Master is understanding the capacity of everybody on the team. And I'm like, that's the closest to what I do as a coach and as an HR. Let me learn Scrum Mastery, right? Scrum Master, the agile frameworks, so that when I'm speaking to tech talent in my recruitment, I'm not sounding like a dumb, right? I understand how they will be in a team. And because I've invested in myself, I can increase my earnings. My earning, I had to move it to $20 per hour early this year. Last 3 months, I moved it to $30 per hour. You grow when you grow. Your earning grow when you grow. So people should ask questions, research, but it still will not be close to what my counterparts, my friends, or my colleagues will be earning if they're in the United Kingdom. So let's be realistic. They will pay tax. So I'm not going to come and be funny, or because I'm growing at my end. I might, but the reality is I'm not. So the location where we are, part of it, you are not spending transportation to work, part of it, all of those things, so they are removing it here and there. But when you grow, your earning capacity grows. That's what I think.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, we'll be taking questions now. So Damilala Obidaero says that, how would you classify a gig worker? Employed, unemployed, or underemployed? Tokwe, please help answer that question.
Self-employed. So it's not part of the option. It is self-employed. Yes, you are self-employed because you have to be, and I think that's one of the perks of being a freelancer. You are like I'm trying to remember the phrase I use. You are a king in your own right because you are the one looking for clients. You are the one setting your price. Your growth is dependent on you. No company is sponsoring you anywhere. Nobody's paying for your Wi-Fi or data. You are self-employed. You are in your own right, you're king. I had to resign 9 to 5 this year because I felt like I wanted to give all of my attention to my remote work and the gig economy. So even if you are working and you are freelancing on the side, that is still a self-employment. Because there are times that you might not see clients. And let's be real, there are times that you have finished the project, 6-month project, and there's a down period. So what happens? It's still on you to move and get the next one. So you are self-employed.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, so we have another one that says, how do you show you are trustworthy to a tech company? Esther, please help answer that question.
Okay, so I think Tope has already mentioned that when she was talking about different P's that we would need, and one of those things was portfolio. So from your portfolio would state all of the things that you have done. And when you are writing your portfolio and you are already giving, how would I put it? And you're already giving misconstrued things in your portfolio, it already shows that you are not trustworthy. So you want to make sure that your portfolio clearly defines who you are. Your portfolio critically explains your characteristics, your skills, your everything, the things you can do, the things you cannot do. You don't write it there that you can do it. You understand? So by the time people are reading your portfolio, by the time people are reading the things that you have written down for them, they already have a sense of trust. They already give you this trust. They already give you this feel of, this person is trustworthy just from the portfolio that I've read, because the person has not said some extravagant things. The person has not written some things that he or she cannot deliver. The person has not overemphasized some points like that. So you just tell them, these are the things I can do, these are the things I can deliver, these are the things that I am working on. So it shows in your portfolio when you are saying, okay, I have actually learned this particular thing. I can do this particular thing. I am learning to do this particular thing. And within a year or two, I am hoping to have achieved this particular thing. In that way, they already know that, oh yes, this person knows where she's going. This person knows what she is doing. From there, you build the trust that you are supposed to build for the company.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you for that. That's profound and straight to the point. I like that. Okay, so we have another question here that says, how do you know the companies and how many proposals would you have to submit? So I think this goes to Tokwe, and I think he's talking about Upwork and other platforms like that.
Oh, okay. So if I understand this question, how do you know the companies? You don't know the companies except you make a research. So platforms like this, they post the jobs. Some of them include their company name, so you can go to research. But the most important thing is the job they put out there. And there are so many factors we also look at before even applying for a job. Because I see people have different opinion. They tell you that they've been on that platform for 3 months, 1 year. They've been applying for jobs. They didn't get a job. And I ask them, what type of jobs have you been applying for? Do you look at the flags, the red flags of these jobs? Some of these people just open accounts on Upwork just like you. Maybe they're even a freelancer like you, and they just posted the job there. Some of them, their payment method are not verified. So what is the assurance that they would employ you, right? So you want to look at those red flags. So you can do your research. You can always find their name there if they put it. But in terms of how many proposals, there are no rules. But we all know it's a game of the numbers. The higher the proposals you send, the better the opportunities of getting called back for interviews. So there's no rule of this is the number. Just keep sending quality proposals.
All right. Thank you for answering that question, Tope. So we have another one that says, should Nigerian employers embrace the gig economy? Is it economical? Stephen, can you help us with that question?
For employers, I think it's actually economical because I think gig economy is cheaper than the normal way we work. And you don't actually need somebody that is going to come to like a permanent worker in the organization when all you need is somebody that's going to just build a product for you. So that way, yes, a gig worker can come in, do the job after the whole project, then it goes. So there are so many opportunities for both employers and employee when it comes to gig economy. Yeah, and again, it's actually flexible. It's flexible. You don't need to have an office space for a gig worker. You don't need to have any special benefit for them, right? They just need to get the job done, and after they've gotten the job done, they get paid, and that is it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Do we still have any more questions? Oh, okay. So, all right. So I don't think we have any more questions, but I personally have a question, right? And my concern is that in 5-10 years to come, with the growth of the gig economy in Africa and in Nigeria, I feel like it's going to have a negative impact on the 9-to-5 workers. For example, a web developer working with Jumia, a cybersecurity expert working with, a proper company, a situation where, companies can just get someone to get their job done. The impact for me, I think is going to be negative, but I mean, I'd like to have your thoughts on this. Tokwe, let's have your thoughts on this.
Well, like I said earlier, right? I don't know if I mentioned it. Someone actually created the 9-to-5 system, but this is how we work now. That's the truth. So if you want to stick with the 9-to-5 physically, because don't forget, even as a gig economy, some of us work 9-to-5. It's just that you're doing it remotely. Some of us still work 9-to-5. So, but if and the reality is some organizations cannot leverage on the gig economy. Like a construction company, you can't be molding block remotely now. Okay, you have to come to the site. So I understand that there are certain industries, that's the reality. There are certain industries and sector that they cannot fully leverage on the gig economy, except they want to look at maybe, branding, maybe their strategies, consulting, all those things can be done online. But there are roles I know that cannot be converted. But in terms of that having a negative impact on the 9-to-5, it's real. And COVID already showed us that anything that can be done remotely should be done remotely. Anything that can be done online should be done online. There is no need. And I know maybe one of the concerns of Nigerian organizations and startup is if you don't have the digital infrastructure to enable your staff to work remotely, it would affect your business. How do you know they are working truly? Somebody can put on laptop and be sleeping.
True.
Some of them don't have internet in their house. There is no light. Okay, are you going to buy gen for them? So I know all of these issues that we have in our country, third world issues, Nigeria issues, is contributing to the fact that, that's why people are running away. But the reality is, if we have this infrastructure, whether physical, digital, it would work. But the impact will definitely still be there because the world is moving fast. I have a statistics here. If I have the time, I can share it. It's a Harvard Business Review. The future of work is not something we're just saying here. These things are online. So it's going to be disrupted. There's nothing we can do about it.
Fantastic. I saw a question here from Olukunle Olairaju. Do digital labor platform use the same approach to hire gig worker? Stephen, let's have you answer the question, and then I will have your thoughts as well, Esther, once Stephen is done.
Okay, so for digital labor platform, I think every platform, every sector can actually bring in gig economic as an approach when it comes to offering their services. So it's not just tailored towards one particular sector. Everybody is a disrupting technology now. Everybody has to accept it. So I think every sector has the ability to actually use the same approach to hire gig workers.
Thank you for that, Stephen.
Yeah.
Esther, let's have your thoughts as well.
I would like to agree with Stephen because the future of work has changed basically. You see people doing 2-3 jobs and they are sitting in their houses and they are working effectively and efficiently. In fact, Tope said we do 9 to 5. Some of us don't do 9 to 5. Some of us do 12 to 12. Some of us do a 24-hour round. We stick with our systems for hours until we get the job done. And the future of work now, anybody can actually do it. In fact, you can be a gig worker from anywhere. We learn online. We do every other thing we want to do online. So anything we want to do, in fact, there are some platforms that teach people to do stuff online. There are some platforms that work online. In fact, all their workers, they don't even go anywhere. They just stay at home and then they deliver. And the delivery is even better than when you go to work. Maybe you are stressed from the traffic of the day. You get to work all sad, all feeling bad, feeling tired. Then you have to face your bosses. You have to go back home again, maybe by 11 o'clock. You're tired. You come back again the next morning feeling extremely exhausted. But you can just rest when you need to rest and continue your work at any time. In fact, some of us start work by maybe 12 midnight, and then we finish our work for the day by 8 a.m. We have other things to do. You understand? So gig work is the future of work is this remote job that people are doing right now. And it really makes people more efficient. Like people that are hardworking though, it makes them efficient. It makes them able to utilize their time the best way they can. And it makes them do things the best way they want to do it.
All right. Thank you for that, Esther. You made the point, right? When you mentioned that you work 12 to 12 and stuff like that. But the thing is, don't you think that it affects work-life balance when you are working on too many tasks or too many gigs, right? Don't you think that it affects the work-life balance where you don't know the time, you don't know your what's it called? You don't know your start time, you don't know your end time. It just messes up your day as a gig worker.
Okay, so Topper said that you are self-employed, right? So if we are self-employed, then you have your time in your hands. You know how to divide your time. You know how to put 8 hours into this, 4 hours into this, 2 hours. I remember a particular time when I had a lot of tasks to do. I came home and I said, this is the way I'm going to do it. 2 hours for each task. The moment I'm done 2 hours on this task, I leave. So, in fact, if I was more efficient doing 2 hours on each of the tasks I was supposed to do, and I did better than maybe when I'm stressed and tired. So you are self-employed, as she said, and you have your time in your hands to put it in as effectively as you want to put it in. So it doesn't, if you want it to disrupt your work-life balance, it will disrupt it. But if you know how to balance it well, you will balance it well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Do we have any more? Okay, so we have one question again. It says, how do you get a tech gig without work experience in the tech industry if you transition from art to tech? So, Stevie, can you help us with that?
Okay, so before any employer is going to employ you, they want to be sure that you can actually get the job done. So you need experience first. I think experience is the first thing you need to do. And when it comes to getting experience, platform to gain experience, I think tech has most of the resources now. You can get a lot of resources online. There are YouTube platform where you can learn, study, and be expert on what you do. So the first thing you need to do is go get those experience, right? Go to YouTube, go to LinkedIn, go to Telegram, go to Twitter. You have a lot of people that are willing to give you those resources. Then learn, gain some experience, then before you start applying. But nobody is going to employ you if you don't have the experience. That's truth to be told. Nobody. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Sokwe,
yeah.
can we also have your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think just like Steven said, it's the first thing you have to even understand. So you have to go for knowledge first. And YouTube University, Google University is there for anyone. And a lot of times, even after you learn those things, some companies might not want to take a chance of you. So look out for internship opportunities where you can at least start from. You know, if there are boot camps that can boost your experience as well, you have to go there. Offer your services for free, code for fun if you have to, do something for your friends just so that you have them in your portfolio, because when anybody wants to then employ you, they've seen that, oh, okay, you've been putting effort, we can give you an entry level role. And to make the landing easy for you as well, a lot of these sectors that are coming into tech also is like, if you're an accountant, I keep saying this, for an accountant, you are in accounting before, or financial services, you can move to fintech. The landing will be sought for you because you're already used to financial terms and accounting. If you're in biology, you're a pharmacist, there is biotech. You're in health sector, there's health tech. You're in education, you're a trainer, there's ed tech. An HR like me, there is HR tech or job tech. So you can also look at these related sectors that can help you, but they are all in tech.
Thank you for that. Okay, I think we had a question, and I think you already did justice to it. That is how an entry-level gig worker could get experience. So I think you already did justice to that. Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions? All right, I don't think we do. I think that brings us to the end of the conversation. Thank you. Oh, we have another question. Does the gig economy apply to non-techies? Must I be? Oh, okay. I think we already answered that you don't have to be a techie to, unless the opportunity in the gig economy, all you just have to do is gain knowledge, research, ask questions. Temitope also gave us the 4 P's, to stand out, especially on platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and the rest. So I think that answers the question. Okay, someone says a lot of gig workers, especially entry level, battle the problem of pricing. Can you give a little insight on how talent can properly price their product? Esther, do you want to help us with that question?
Okay, can you give a little insight on how talent can properly price their product? I think Tope said something about that earlier, talking about the fact that if you have the experience, you can now put a price on your experience. So with that, she made mention of her using thousands of dollars to upskill herself. And then after upskilling herself, she could add a higher price to what she was giving. It's the same thing. If you are an entry-level person, give an entry-level price for what you are giving. And when you keep growing, you keep putting additional prices. that's just what I can say. If whatever experience you have to offer, give the price. That's part of being trustworthy, and that's part of building the right relationship with other people, so that you don't overcharge people, so that you don't charge people for what you cannot offer. When you know that, oh, I can offer this particular thing for this particular price, give that price. And when you know that you have upskilled yourself to a higher level, that you feel that, oh, this particular price, I'm not worth it again, you take it higher to the next level. That's just it.
Thank you for that. I think that's really profound and true, actually. Thank you for that. So do we have any more questions? We're just going to take in one more question if we still have any question. All right, I guess we don't have. And so that brings us to the end of the conversation. I think I want to really appreciate you guys for taking out time and being generous with sharing your knowledge. You guys poured out so much, and I'm sure that anyone who listened or is going to watch this live conversation again, they are going to be grateful that they did, because there has been so much outpour of knowledge, so much outpour of information. So yeah, thank you so much for taking out time to do this. Thank you so much. So guys, that brings us to the end of the conversation. And also I'd like to inform you that we have a React training, coming up on Monday. So if you are someone who needs knowledge in React, right? You want to upgrade your knowledge, you want to improve your knowledge, or you want to learn React anew, come and register with us. Come and learn. Come and upskill. You've heard everything that Tope and Esther and Stephen has said. For you to be able to charge high price, you need to be able to upskill and learn more, increase your knowledge. So come and learn. It's going for an affordable price of just 30,000 naira, right? So you can go on our Instagram, on our WhatsApp, Twitter, on our Facebook, drop us a DM, drop us a message, go on our website, social media platform, and reach out to us. We'll be more than glad to walk you through the process. So once again, thank you guys for joining, and that brings us to the end of the conversation. Have a good night rest. Bye.